Welcome, everybody, to the Mighty Nerd Podcast. I'm SolidSnarf. Joined with me today, and probably every other day, is FistTruck.
Hello. again. Was this like the fourth or fifth time?
This is the fourth or fifth time. I kept on getting interrupted.
Oh, shit.
That we've done the intro.
Oh, God.
Today we're going to talk about the MCDM Kickstarter.
I'm like jiggling in my chair.
We're going to talk about the Insomniac Sony hacks and hacking in general. Okay.
So, and then we're going to get to the Bethesda stuff, which there is nothing Bethesda stuff in particular other than it's a thing that I really want to talk about. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Cool.
All right.
Yeah.
So, MCDM is Matt Colville's company. They make tabletop RPG stuff. You know, tabletop RPG stuff is like D&D. D&D is a tabletop RPG, and there's a bunch of other games that fall under that genre.
Yep, and for those who don't know, Matt Colville is a Dungeons and Dragons content creator here on YouTube. Though a lot of his advice for running the game is usually system agnostic enough.
Yeah, where you can
but
take all
that's
the stuff
what
and put it to other games.
Yeah, that's what he's most well known for within the space.
Yeah, and with the earlier D&D open game license problem that we had earlier this year, the future for supplemental material, making money off it, being profitable, is in danger. While, you know, the new open game license is okay, the company has...
Well, it's more than okay. It's really, really good. Like they put the they put like the 5.1 standard rule thing,
right.
Design,
but the intent behind the company, you don't know what they're going to do. It's volatile.
Super sketch. Yeah.
You don't know if they're kicking the can down the road to, you know, gouging
like with
third-party
whatever next edition
companies.
Or whatever next version they come out, they're gonna be like, oh, but not this one.
Yeah. So a bunch of companies are scrambling to get away from D&D and make their own systems so that they can support it long term. And MCDM, it's right now on Kickstarter. It's the MCDM RPG.
It's on BackerKit, not Kickstarter.
Oh, it's on BackerKit. Yes, yeah. It's on BackerKit.
Same shit. At the end of the day, as far I guess from the outside looking in, it's another crowdfunding website.
Yeah. So they're doing that. I think, you know, a bunch of other systems came out this year. I know Pathfinder, you know, updated their latest version.
Yeah, 2E remaster.
Yeah, and what was Fantasy Age?
There's Cobalt. Yeah, Fantasy Age had second edition, though. Pretty sure that had nothing to do with the OGL, but I could be wrong. Like, I honestly don't know.
But it came out at that time. Just we're here. We're putting our hat in the ring. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Cobalt Press had their Kickstarter for Tales of the Valiant, which is like a 5E, or Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition adjacent.
Right.
But they essentially like use the rules from the SRD, tweak them. So essentially they're, I think like OGL free enough. Yeah. Cause now instead of OGL, now they're on like the ORC license, which is like I forgot what it is. It's like Open RPG Collective or something like that. Pathfinder and Paizo are part of it too. Then Level Up Advanced 5e also had their own. I don't know if they called it just Level Up Advanced, but they put their own like rule set SRD thing on the internet as well. So you got a bunch more companies trying to break away from being like beholden to whatever Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro does.
Yeah.
And MCDM is one of those.
Yeah, even content creators like the Dungeon Coach has his D20.
Oh yeah, DC20. Yep.
I would say that's the closest to D&D out of everything I saw. everyone else is going.
I haven't followed it in like a month or so, but when you showed me the rules and then when I was watching a bunch of his streams talking about it, I'm like, there's a lot of shit in here. It feels like you just ripped it straight out of the book, but there's also a lot of many more original ideas in there that are interesting. Specifically the action economy.
I would say it's the closest thing I've seen to D&D. It's still, he's still beta testing all of it in his community.
And I assume it's a lot of placeholder stuff. It's just when I see when I see the monk does stunning strike or something, I'm like, that's can you do that? I don't know. Like, wait, can you do that? What the fuck? Can you just call it the same exact thing that it is in D&D? I don't like, I haven't gone through what, like, everything that's in the SRD and what's in Creative Commons and all that kind of shit, but like, whatever. That's a topic for a different time. But we're here talking about the MCDM RPG, which, unlike all of the games that we just mentioned, aside from Fantasy Age, is like
pre-alpha.
Well, that's besides the point. Because Fantasy Age is not pre-alpha.
No, the MCDM.
But I said like the MCDM RPG, unlike all the other games we mentioned, aside from Fantasy Age, is like very, very detached from Dungeons and Dragons as a whole, system wise and everything. Because like the Cobalt Press one, Level Up Advanced 5e, and DC 20, they're very, very heavily D&D adjacent. Like especially with the Cobalt Press and Level Up Advanced 5e one, where their rules, their SRD, is like a modified version of the 5th edition SRD. For DC 20, like I just said about the whole, like, there's so many things in that game that are like same terminology from Dungeons and Dragons. Fantasy Age actually, and also keep in mind, these are also all D20 systems, like the ones that I just mentioned. But Fantasy Age and the MCDM RPG are not. Yeah. At least Fantasy Age definitely. MCDM, that they make it very, very clear on their crowdfunding page that the game's not finished. The point of the crowdfunding is to fund its development. They've come a long ways away from where they started, but they still have a long ways to go. Yeah,
so anything is subject to change. They made it very clear as soon as the backer kit dropped. Matt Colville released a video and was like, "Hey, this is what we intend to do. None of this is set in stone. Just, grain of salt. Take everything with a grain of salt. It's not set in stone."
Yeah, like in the live, he streams on Twitch, and all of his like Twitch streams leading up to the crowdfunder launch, he's making it very clear game is not done. I follow them on Patreon, or I'm subscribed to them on Patreon. They make it very clear the game's not done. And on the crowdfunding page itself, it's like very clear that the game, like they have like a fucking June. They're guessing June or I guess that'd be like Q2, 2025 release. Yeah. So it's a long ways away.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think it's this thing like absolutely blew the fuck up, which is great because like I did see another podcast stream type thing where one person in there was like, people like, holy crap, it hit this much, and like the thing's not even finished yet. It's like, yeah, but to be fair, they have a track record for releasing good shit.
Yeah.
I mean, and obviously there also comes with the hype that Matt Colville is a very big, dude in the like content creator space for D&D. Even though he doesn't have like the biggest channel specifically in terms of just like influence and that kind of shit. And then, then keep in mind once again, like the stuff they released in the past, there's a lot of like, hype in general surrounding it.
So what were you funding if you did back it or you want to back it? I think they want base 800,000 for the two books.
That got That got blown out the fucking water, bro.
But we'll go step by step. They want to make the Heroes and Monsters book. Heroes is like the player guide and dungeon master guide. Right?
Yeah. Though I think they've on the. I don't know if it's on the crowdfunding video, but I know once again, like having listened to the streams and stuff, that he's definitely said a bunch of times that like they find the Dungeon Master's Guide to be kind of like pointless.
Right, but they want to put it into one.
Yeah, like some tips like for running the game and shit like that in there. Obviously, like there will be a running the game section, but it's not like how, you know, D&D or Pathfinder have like a DM or GM specific book.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely lumped into that.
It definitely should be in one book.
Yeah, I mean, like, bro, just tell me the rules. Like, that's really it. Tell me the rules, and like, give me a handful of situations, possibly for like, oh, hey, what if you run into this like fringe situation or some shit? But for the most part, like, you really just need to know like some of the rules, and then you kind of just figure it out as you go.
Right. And the monsters book is straight monsters. All encounter stuff.
Yep.
And pledge levels is you get a bunch of stuff. I think their highest level was sold out, and they did a second run. Edition. Yeah, it was so popular they had to do a second run. For
$500. Yeah, that was nuts. So funny enough, the reason why, because you still have people going like, "Hey, are there more Ajax editions coming out?" And he's like. In one of the Q&A streams, he says something along the lines of like, yeah, they have to manually assemble them. Like they get the stuff, right? Obviously it gets made in a factory overseas. They get the stuff shipped to them, and then they actually have to put them together.
Oh, wow.
So like each one is time that they actually put into it. So what are they? They're like 1,800 of them, right?
1,800, Jesus! I know the first run was 500 of them.
Was it? No, I thought it was like 1,000.
Was it 1,000? Oh shit! I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, 999.
Oh, okay.
And then the next one was 875. So it's like almost 1,900 of these things that they gotta go and put in the box and then fucking close up.
I can just think we finally made our our masterpiece. Now we got to put these shit in boxes.
Yeah, like you just imagine you get like a pallet of all this shit showing up, right? Like in boxes, and you're like, fuck. Like that's, you just look at it, you're like, damn, bro, this sucks. So that's I don't expect them to add more at this point, but
yeah,
that's why. Is that the one that you got?
Maybe. Yes,
okay.
Yes, it was.
Okay. There's one. There's going to be someone's hands on it before you get it.
Yep. Gotta sniff it. Was it the Coville? Oh, it smells like Coville. No. Their second stretch goal was for a virtual tabletop. It's gonna be no, it's not gonna be anything. It's not gonna be anything because it's not anything yet. But that was like 1.5 million. And they had a person in their community like make the person in the community already made a virtual tabletop like base stuff with their early rules, and they were like, yo, that's sick. They're excited, and they funded it, so now they can give that guy money to continue working on that virtual tabletop.
I remember. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and virtual tabletop is, the way we've been playing for the past 3 years.
Yeah.
It is, it's important to the lifeblood of the community.
Yeah, because I'm sure the majority of people play online.
Yeah.
The only thing is that unlike other games where it's, you're using like the big websites like Roll20, or you have like Fantasy Grounds or, what was that other one that I tried out? Foundry. Yeah. So I remember in like one of the, once again, I think it was a stream where they were talking about they were using Fantasy Grounds at first to mess with it, but then it just kept fucking with them. Like it kept messing with them. He's just like, fuck, man. Like, this doesn't work. So they're doing their own thing as opposed to like having it being a thing that you could buy for these websites that you might already have a pre-existing subscription for.
Yep.
However, he does say that like one kind of goes hand in hand with the other, because since their intent is to have everything be open, that someone could take like the, I don't speak in, code, but they could take I forgot the file name for this stuff, but for making things work in Roll20, but like the HTML shit and stuff like that it could be transferred over to one of those websites, but it would be like a community thing as opposed to something that they handle.
Yeah, but they said also on the upside, potentially, barring any legal stuff, that if you buy MCDM content, they can also have it on the website. You don't have to buy it a second time.
Yeah.
So
that's
that's what their intent is. Again, they have to cover their bases, and they're saying,
it's all tentative.
Yeah, all tentative. But it's just it goes a long way to have the figurehead like saying, hey, this is our intent and we're trying to get this done. That's what you're investing in. You're not investing in a product, you're investing in that we're not trying any fuck shit,
Yeah. But you gotta appreciate it.
Yeah. And then the 2 million stretch goal was a Valsoria box set.
Vasloria. It's like a setting, a source. I guess it'd be like a campaign source book.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess that's the way I look at it. With a bunch of like goodies in it and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. And yeah, okay. So, I see it. Yeah, it's like a starter set for D&D. And that's it. That's $2 million. The max they wanted was $2 million.
$2 million. That shit people ran through that goal like me through a fucking Carvel, man. That shit got annihilated in like 24 hours. I think it hit $2 million. I'm pretty sure within the first 24 hours it had $2 million.
Okay.
And it's currently at like 3.4.
Yes,
I think
3.434.162.
I don't think that's how that works, but okay.
And there's 13 days left on the thing. So, props to them. I'm happy. Yeah. I'm excited because, I just want to play a game that's, ethically sourced as non-GMO and all that stuff.
Grass-fed.
Yeah, grass-fed. It just seems it's very pro-consumer.
And the thing about the game that I find interesting, because he talked about this in one of his streams, where it hit its goal really fast. It obviously blew the fuck up. Like for the website backer kit, I think this is like the biggest thing they had, or at least like the fastest to hit 1 million or 2 million, ever on the website. So people were like, oh, hey, this is like a big thing. And but the thing is that when people say, hey, there's a big thing, like in terms of the industry at large, or like, tabletop, the hobby in general, is like people sometimes underestimate how big D&D actually is.
Yeah.
Like you see something like this fund and you're like, holy shit, bro, people are sick of dealing with, or, sick of like the Dungeons and Dragons, something like, no.
Yeah, the D&D is still going to be on top.
Yeah,
because there's a whole slew of people that they're
engage in this stuff.
Yeah, they don't engage with anything else. Because why would they? Right? They have their D&D.
Yeah. But it's also just like people, like if you're a consumer of content for a particular thing, you're already in like a small percentage, right? So like in my case, right? Like I'll do Elden Ring videos or something, and the amount of people who play Elden Ring and then proceed to watch Elden Ring content is like way smaller.
Right.
Like, like if you do like concentric circles, right? That kind of shit. And so the amount of people who play tabletop games as a whole and then go online and consume content for tabletop games, those groups exist in the same, circle, but one's a much smaller circle than the other.
Right.
And then to get this far down the rabbit hole, it's a big deal.
Yeah,
or,
it's like you ended up on a weird place on YouTube. It's yeah.
even though like Matt Colville has like 400K plus subscribers, but still, he does. So in that stream, he does say for it to be like significant to them, like a game that could actually probably like have its own legs, you know, like for time to come. I think he said it needed like 30,000 backers.
They're at
like
20.
They're at 20 with 13 days left, but obviously that momentum slowed down a lot after the first like few days.
Yeah, anybody that was you know, following it backed it day 1 through 5.
Yeah, though I assume when it does launch, that'll kind of like blow it up even more. I mean, you know, assuming that it's good, which I hope it's good based on everything that they're showing, it seems like it's going to be pretty sick. But you know, thoughts reserved until the day it comes out, or until the day they start releasing like player packets and shit like that.
That's a lot of money for the amount of backers he has. It's like if you were to average it out, it's like 170 per backer.
Well, if you the most purchased one was the 2 books, which was like 135. So.
Yeah.
And then you have at least almost 1,900 people who spent $500.
Yeah. Ooh, man, I'm excited for it.
Yeah, best of luck to them.
Yeah.
You know, I've been ever since you showed me Matt Colville video like 2-3 years ago, I've been following that guy like all the time. I bought they have their book, their monster book that came out this year, Flea Mortals. I got that. It's sick. It's really good. I've looked at their Kingdoms and Warfare book. It's not a rule set that I would ever use, but it's cool.
Yeah, it's you know, we've been on a journey of just trying new games so we can so we can bastardize all the rules and make a monster.
Yeah, like put them in D&D or something, then you realize, you know what? Maybe it's better to just play that other game.
Yeah.
But you know, each game has its place.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So, speaking of games in development,
a message from our sponsors.
So Insomniac Games got hacked.
Fuck folded pizza.
Huh?
Sorry, what?
What?
Keep going.
What?
So now Insomniac got hacked. Go on.
Yeah, Insomniac got hacked by I think it's hacker group from Russia.
People.
Right, Rysida.
Whatever. It doesn't matter. We don't need to say who hacked them.
Yeah, they stole a bunch of information, like 1 point.
It was a ransomware thing.
Yeah, 1 point something terabytes of information. They had to, you know, call back their system to a previous version. And I think they wanted $2 million.
$2 million, yeah.
Yeah, so they put it was a ransom, $2 million. Say, hey, we'll give you your shit back if you give us $2 million, and you know you don't negotiate with
you don't negotiate with terrorists.
So they sold it on the dark web, and you know somebody purchased it.
Yep.
In that stuff.
I thought it was that what happened? I thought it was just like a ransomware thing where they were like threatening to leak all the information if they don't receive $2 million. They didn't. Sony or Insomniac, whoever, did not. Sony, I just assume, did not cave into those demands, so they leaked the info. I think that's what happened.
They also sold it on websites.
Damn, bro, they had their cake and ate it too.
Yeah,
Fuck.
yeah. They sold only like 2% of it, I think. And the another 98% has been leaked.
Okay.
But assuming, you know, that 2%, you know, I don't exactly know what it was. What was the 2% that was sold? But we know in the leaks, it was like contract negotiations for another Spider-Man game and then a trilogy of Wolverine games or something.
Yeah. Like I think it's neither here nor there to talk about what was within the leaks. Aside, like I do find something like when it comes to like future game plans or whatever, I see that and I go like, okay, that's a plan, but you know, shit happened, so like you know.
Right. Well, I mean, the most important thing I think is that they're leaking, information from employees, so they have like their IDs, their passports, and I've seen even people that haven't worked there in a couple of years. They're on Twitter and like, bro, just got an email from a company I worked for 2 years ago. What the fuck? And apparently all my cards have been charged already. It's like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Not great. Yeah, so they're assholes.
Yeah, it's pretty shitty.
Yeah. I have a couple of my friends that I have. They're great people. But they just have shitty takes on things.
Okay, all right, here we go. All right, I was like, all right, he's prefacing it with something good. That means it must be something bad coming up.
They're like, oh,
do you see a new Wolverine game? It looks so bad. It's like, oh
okay,
my
God.
That's such a smooth brain take.
It's an alpha. It's like, in development. It's not supposed to be seen.
But like early access games and games as a large have perverted so many people's meaning of the word alpha and beta that they think alpha and beta are fucking games that are like finished enough. When it's like alpha means you can play it. That's like as far as I know, alpha means it's playable. Yeah. Like, you have, like, the foundation is there, but it's still got a long fucking way to go.
For sure. That is a take that is absolutely, smooth brain. But I will say that, damn, hit animation. The sound for Wolverine.
Okay, see, this is we talked about this offline, but like the thing about this is that it's I saw it and I was just like, okay, like, opinion.
Opinion reserved.
Looks solid, but like for the most part, I'm just gonna try and not really say shit about it because like all this shit could fucking change.
Absolutely.
So
definitely smooth
even the sound could just easily be replaced. That could just be a fucking placeholder.
But I was making fun of it. I don't expect it to be in the final. I'm not saying that that's the final product. I'm just saying it got old real fast.
Yeah.
It's a placeholder, clearly. But yeah, smooth brain take. But that was not the take that I was going for. Again, my friends are great people. They're great.
Uh-huh.
I buy them pizza. They're grateful. We're friends. So their take, specifically a few people. Well, it's a big company. They deserve to be hacked. They make too much money and they overwork their people. And
oh man, that's That
I think
that's
is
somehow more smooth brain than what I said. What the fuck?
Like, bro, the hackers are not the heroes.
There's no fucking
in no real world are the hackers the heroes.
If you worked for a company that got hacked and then all your information was on the internet, you would not be saying that shit, bro.
Yeah,
what the fuck?
Absolutely.
That's so okay. Yeah. Oh man.
Again,
wow.
They're I'm sure it was straight from their ass to their mouth. Like
that came from a place of ignorance. That was holy shit. And like I'll say some cooked things that come from a place of ignorance, but not that. that's crazy. Holy shit.
Don't worry, they got an earful. But I don't think it resonated because
so then what doesn't matter? That's oh boy.
Oh man.
That's ooh. No, like the things I can like resonate with in terms of big company getting hacked are like, maybe if they have like they're trying to like figure out ways to monetize games that are like real fucking shifty or something like that for the future.
Insomniac
but all these companies
awesome
do
games.
it. Yeah, but Sony's like, Sony's whole push or attempt to push into live service games is clearly like, like I don't give a fuck when it says nothing good. It's gonna come from that. Like that's,
I didn't even want to get into that because it's just it was just such
that's
a
not leak info.
Yeah, it was just such a whack take.
Yeah, that's crazy. Holy shit.
Yeah, I don't know, the people are out there, and they're on Twitter.
yeah. Wow, I was not ready for that one. So
yeah.
I do. What I do want to talk about more is like the, or at least what I at least want to add to this is what came out surrounding this was a whole lot of like, I guess, ethics. I mean, we're not fucking, we're just two dudes talking, but
yeah.
But like when it comes to like game journalism or gaming websites. Pretty much the moment the leak happened, everyone was like, or, like IGN and Kotaku and whatever posting like, oh, Marvel games until 2035 or some shit like that. And,
really?
And, I could be, I know.
No, continue.
But yeah, no, it was immediate though. It was immediate. And so you have a lot of Insomniac developers saying like, bro, this is fucked up. Like you're going to report on our shit and stuff like that. But the thing is, right?
Right.
Like, you can't tell people what to talk about.
Yeah.
Or what not to talk about. Like, it's gotten to this point because there's this whole conversation about, like, if, like, for example, Kotaku and IGN. Well, I personally don't really care about leaks in terms of, like, like, oh, hey, they're going to be making more Spider-Man games more. Like, I don't care. I truly don't care. Like if there's something I don't give a shit about, it's that. But I also think it's well within like it's gotten to a point where pretty much when people and publishers and stuff like that, well, really publishers and I guess developers to a certain extent, but whatever, I'll say both of them are like you can only talk about our game when we tell you to talk about our game.
No.
But that's what it's become like where because I was seeing that conversation go online and it's like you can't, while I necessarily don't agree with reporting on some of these leaks because all it does is serve into like bullshit hype and stuff like that, and I will constantly go on the record for fucking hating that, but you also can't tell them what not to do. Like they're I mean, supposedly, like, oh, hey, these are websites. They're gaming journalists or stuff like that. They're not your PR department. Or like, they're not your ad. Like, they're not marketing. There you go. That's what I'm trying to say. They're not your marketing arm. Like,
right.
You can, but it's gotten to the point where like, it's so much like that.
Well, it's like a symbiotic relationship. They need the gaming journalist to act as a PR thing. They send them early copies of their game. The journalist gets a report on it early. They get to sell ads on their reports.
Yeah, and they get the clicks from having like the the day and date.
So it behooves the gaming journalist to not piss off the big companies, which by extension would be Sony, and Sony's 1/3 of the market. It's Sony,
or at least a console.
Sony, Xbox, and Nintendo, and then there's PC. Their main shit.
Yeah.
So if you have like people from Insomniac or Sony saying like, "Hey, we don't want you to talk about that," it's not exactly like Kotaku or a game. I'm just using them as an umbrella term. They can't be like, fuck off necessarily, because again, they need those early copies of the games, man. They want to get Spider-Man 3 before everyone else.
God, it's so shitty.
Yeah. I mean, look, there's as long as journalism is a business, it's not going to be.
You gotta like play by the rules and stuff.
Yeah, it's not. You're not gonna get good shit. You're gonna get people throwing shit at the wall, and then the good shit, and that supplements the income for good shit. But it's hard to tell what is in between that.
I just don't get how you can tell people, specifically in this kind of situation where all this information is publicly available, and it's just like, don't journalists, you journalists, like what the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
it seems wild to me, but like,
But they do.
there's so
They
many
do
things
have
about-
weight. It does have weight, and they think
Yeah.
they can push it. It doesn't look good on them. I don't think it looks good on them. I'm not. You know,
I
I'm
don't
just
think it
playing
looks
double
good
advocate.
either way. I don't think it looks good either way, because like reporting on sensationalizing leaks like this further puts more value on hacks. Right? Because like it does. Well, they were asking for $2 million, and they're like, "No, we're not going to give it to you." It blows up, and like they fucking the stuff gets out there, and the shit absolutely blows up because enough people to give a shit about something like this where it actually has value. If it didn't have value, no one would care. Like, so it's like it's a I'm sure there's a term for this, but it's like a damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of situation where it's shitty regardless.
I feel like anybody that's seen the leaks would have seen the leak if, you know, companies like Kotaku or whatever would have not reported on it. You know what I'm saying?
but then that's literally money they're leaving on the table.
Yeah, So to that point, why not report on it?
Yeah. So that's what, which then gives it value. And then it gives it value because you say people will see it even if Kotaku or whatever website doesn't report on it, because someone else will. Someone on YouTube will talk about it. There's no way no one's going to talk about it.
And you know,
which then gives it value.
It's a race to who gets it first. Also, it doesn't even have to be accurate. It's just who gets it out first.
It's like a race to the fucking bottom. But like it's
But I mean, you know, it's like tale as old as time. It's not just gaming journalists. You know, it's journalism. Period.
Yeah. But you know, as far as we give a shit about it.
Oh, true.
Or what's relevant to this conversation? Yeah, it's a, you know, like I can't, like this is not a situation where it's so easy to pick a side. I think there's no side to pick. Probably. I
mean, what side? Like, what do you mean? Well, who are the sides?
You know, are you on the side of like don't talk about it or do talk about it? Right? Like don't. Oh, you can't report on this because that's disrespectful or something.
But definitely, if you're on the side of the hackers, that's bad side.
Yeah, that's objectively terrible, right? Having personal information, your address, card info, all that kind of shit, fucking just out for the world to see. Literally, go burn in hell. Like it's it's scum, like absolute scum of the earth. But like, you know, in terms of like the reporting on leaks and stuff like that, especially because not everything on the leak is just like, hey, this is game information. There were also like sales data, and internal like memos and presentations about like, you know, their position against or versus Microsoft and how they kind of, you know, like you know, they see themselves currently in a place like as a leader, but that in like, you know, a few years they're definitely not going to be that, because Microsoft has put themselves in a position to like, you know, like essentially they've been, you know, Microsoft's been on that Sigma male grind set.
Yeah. I mean, like, they've been laying the groundwork.
And
it has
operating behind the scenes and spending like $80 billion.
And you have potential. Like it's like it's building up so much kinetic energy that or potential energy that it's just they can fucking do it. If they do it, like I thought, you know, we would have seen something by now.
Starfield.
But it hasn't been looking good. Honestly, it hasn't been looking good.
We'll get to Starfield.
Yeah, Redfall. That was the name of it, right?
Yeah. Hi-Fi Rush.
Hi-Fi Rush. Yeah, high five.
But
that was a good
thing
game.
Is, Hi-Fi Rush is not the kind of game that's going to.
It's not going to be the game that
move the needle like that. I think.
But,
like even as like amazing of a game as it is.
I mean, I wish more. I hope that we see more games do stuff not like the same game, but just more concepts.
Like where they clearly fucking gave a shit, man. That's
exactly.
That's like, I mean, I'm not saying that. I'm sure in every game ever, including fucking Redfall, like someone gave a shit. They did give a shit, but things happen. Like especially when I imagine you have like multiple levels of fucking bureaucracy or things like that. Things get lost, and it's.
I think someone gave a shit for what was that game?
Redfall?
No, the one we talked about last week.
The day before?
Yeah. Think anybody gave a shit about that one?
No.
Okay. Anyway.
I stand corrected.
yeah. I was like, as soon as you said it, I was like,
There probably had to be one person who gave a shit.
We're hiring one person to work on this.
A shit giver.
He's like, I'm ready to work and make this the best game ever, sir.
That's it. He gave a shit. All right, get the fuck out. He's gone.
Yo, this guy gives a shit. Get out of here.
Idiot. Yeah. So, fucker. Yeah. So, the hacks, leaks, and all that kind of stuff. It's is there anything more that you wanted to?
I don't know. It's gonna happen before. It's gonna happen again.
It will. Yeah. I know you brought it up before we started talking. But it was like the fucking GTA 6.
Oh, did you hear? Yeah. No, I told you what happened to that dude.
Yeah, but you know it better than me, so go for it.
Oh, so they found the dude that leaked GTA 6 details before the trailer.
Yeah.
And he was a part of a group, and they put him in custody, right? And this guy, he showed, according to officials, he just showed no remorse in what he did. He showed no intention of going on the straight and narrow.
His ways.
While he was in custody, he committed like a crime, a hacking crime with a fucking MacGyver fire stick and cell phone and a router. So they didn't send him to prison. They sent him to a fucking
prison hospital.
Prison hospital for the term indefinitely. Like not even life. Because that dude needed help because he was like, if he imagine if he had like a gun hobby instead of a hacking hobby.
Yeah, like currently hacks Rockstar, in the future will hack people's limbs apart.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big leap there, but I guess in his position, what did he leak? Did he just leak GTA 6 stuff, or was it same like he leaked personal info and all that shit too?
I think it was just trailer stuff, but it was a lot of Rockstar stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
But I think he was a part of a group also.
Okay, because I was like, okay, just in the context of GTA 6, all right, if we said it was just trailers.
I mean, it's still a shitty thing to do. I don't know.
It is.
It's less of it. I don't think they're comparable. Like, I'm not trying to compare all hackers to this dude. I'm just saying that this dude, a specific case, is bonkers. That there's a criminal mastermind hacker out there with no remorse, or doesn't give a shit about anything. And it's like, oof.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe
it's like
there's some scary people out there.
Yeah. I feel like I would want, I would want to know the extent of everything he's possibly hacked.
Yeah.
Because I mean, because like, I want to say leaking a trailer is borderline a victimless crime. It does fuck with share prices and stuff, but boo fucking who?
I think it's not just Rockstar. He did a hacking of 3 other companies, and the projected losses for each of those companies was like 4 million, 5 million, 6 million. So, you know,
I mean he's screwed for life.
Yeah.
He's screwed for life.
No, but I mean, he's in a, you know, he could get help. He could get help, and that's what's important, you know.
No, but I mean, even if they choose to sue the shit out of him or something, he's screwed for life. Like it's, but yeah. I mean, that's. I mean, currently neither here nor there. But
he probably filed for bankruptcy.
Yeah.
I think you can file for bankruptcy 3 times or 2 times. I don't know.
Twice.
Twice, yeah.
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 I'd have to. I'd be like curious because I mean, don't do it. Don't do, especially because like I feel most of the time these people do is for like clout.
I mean, he did it for money. They did it for.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah.
No.
But I mean, if you're young, you know, that's, you know, you're like, hey, this is a cool thing I'm doing. I'm fucking
you just
people.
don't know yet.
You know, even like, you know, we're from Xbox Live on 360 days.
Yeah.
You know, how many people
works for Xbox?
Yeah, but like how many people are like, I'm going to hack your internet and find all your information. Like how many people have you met online like that? Like they didn't have the skill set, but if they did, they would have done it.
Yeah.
The intent was there. You know, people are so flippant with these things, especially when you're young. Yeah. That's all I had to say about the hacking stuff, really.
Yeah. So then with that, I guess, speaking of Starfield, so, I brought this topic up to him like literally minutes before we started talking.
Yeah, but I mean, I already have an opinion on it. So.
Yeah. But this being on the podcast was like a very last minute thing. But that's because, first topic is what happened to Bethesda? Not as in like, oh, hey, did they get hacked? I just mean in general.
Right.
Like, what the fuck happened to Bethesda? And I'm talking about Bethesda,
Game Studios,
the developer. Yeah, but not Bethesda, the publisher. It's a two very, very different things. I saw this. There's this YouTube channel called No Clip. It's this guy, Danny O'Dwyer, he's ex like GameSpot dude who does these like gaming documentaries and stuff. It's very good, very high quality, top notch stuff. I've been following him for years. It's like if you haven't watched his stuff and you at all are interested in like gaming, you know, like chronicling game development or game history, like this, it's a phenomenal channel. So today, as the recording of this, which is the 22nd of December, they put out a video titled, let me check here. It's titled Life After 76, Why This Veteran Bethesda World Designer Went Solo. And it's about a ex, as the title implies, it's an ex Bethesda developer who, you know, left Bethesda, went out on his own after Fallout 76.
Is Fallout
got
well?
What
is Fallout? Well, like when? Because Fallout 76 is still going on, right?
Yeah, but you know, after its launch.
Okay.
Because
they're adding a bunch of shit next year for it, I believe.
What?
They're adding a bunch of shit for Fallout 76 next year.
Yeah, I mean, they've already added a bunch of stuff too. Like it's that game is still not. I don't know. If you like, I tried playing it semi recently, and I was like, okay, so it's the same really really shitty beginning. I'm good. So guy's name is Nate Perkypile.
Okay, is that his real name or is it a gamer handle?
That's his.
Oh boy.
Ex Bethesda. Okay, ex Bethesda developer. He was like the art lead / art director on the Fallout 3 Point Lookout DLC. Fallout 76. He also worked on Skyrim, Fallout 3, 4, Starfield, and not Bethesda, but apparently he also worked on Metroid Prime 3.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, and for Starfield, according to the video, he worked on one of the things he worked on was like an early version of Neon within like I don't know if you remember that city in Starfield is which when you and I were playing Starfield, there's a compliment that we did have was that like the hubs, the cities were very like the design of them.
Yeah, they were towns, like they were legit like
They felt like actual spaces.
Yeah, like as opposed to like if you're going to what's that place, Big Town in Fallout 3, you know, it's a game hub. You know, there across any game, like it never feels like a real town place.
Yeah.
But this is the closest we've gotten to, like, in my opinion, to you know, not counting fucking Spider-Man has actual places. But
just like recreating that, you know,
yeah,
like
but
an actual lived in space kind of
yeah,
shit.
like, oh, I've turned down this street, now I'm in this quarter. This feels like a different lived in place, or this has a winding road towards one place and not just straight lefts and rights. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. So like that's one thing. There's one thing that Starfield does really, really well, or like it's the parts where the game appears to have actually been
designed,
handcrafted and designed are like in terms of just the visuals and all that kind of stuff, like Neon being a great example of this, are like incredibly, they're fucking great.
Yeah.
So that's an example of shit he worked on, but this is kind of like coupled with he came out with this like a week or two ago, but it was like the Nakey Jakey video where it's Bethesda's game design was outdated a decade ago. That's the name of it.
Yeah.
I also happened to watch that this week. And it was like I watched that video and pretty much a lot of things he was saying was like this is shit I was saying when fucking Skyrim came out, because Skyrim and Dark Souls came out the same year. I know they're not the same kind of game, but like Dark Souls is a kind of game where most everything that's in there like belongs, as opposed to Skyrim, where as much as I have played Skyrim and love Skyrim, there's so many things in there that just like
dropped in there.
Yeah, like you can see the Scotch tape like holding it together or something, or like, oh shit, let's add on, like, oh hey, here's the melee combat. All right, here you go. Oh, I get a second piece of tape in there. This is a pillar. Like, but it's like really shitty melee combat, and like but it's, you know, greater than some of its parts.
Yeah.
So, after watching this, the no clip video in particular, because he goes like the guy, I think for the most part, you know, makes it. Obviously, you don't say this in the video. They don't say this, but they make it a point to not disparage Bethesda.
Right.
But there are things that he says in the video and that are said in the video that indirectly do that. But like in ways that not as in like they suck, they're shit, but just like there's a clear reverence and respect for his time in Bethesda in the video, so I don't want to like twist that or misconstrue that like there's some sort of fucking, you know, like hate piece or something. It's just for an example is like he goes over how much easier it is to work with Unreal Engine 5 as opposed to the Creation Engine.
Right.
Like I think he makes a point where like I think he wanted like an enemy to do 10% more damage, and you know, like Unreal Engine, that's a thing he can just do, but in like the Creation Engine, that was like a whole, you can mess with it, but if you mess with it, it's gonna fuck up like 800 other things. And I know I'm totally exaggerating that, but essentially what he said is that you'd have to work on it, you'd have to tweak it a shit ton, test it, find out it didn't work, and then revert back to an old like build. And so that's a lot of time that goes down the drain. And he's like making a game called oh fuck, what's it called? The Axis Unseen, I think it's called. And it's just like a survival hunting game. He's making it by himself. But it's like a heavy metal, what he called a heavy metal survival hunting game.
Hell yeah.
It looks solid, at least what they're showing in there. And the thing is that like the guy clearly has an eye for style.
Right.
Like, you know, and being the previous work, because like, you know, just pointing to Neon and Starfield, that city is, or that little spot is
legit.
Top is legit.
Yeah, it's, you know, it's companies wanting proprietary stuff and older companies being set in their ways.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't see the thing that he says, but like my assessment has always been that of Bethesda's, like they know how to make the game, and they know how to make and they're just expanding on it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
But the thing is, like, it's almost like in its own. It's like it's in a vacuum.
yeah.
Completely isolated from the rest of the world.
Maybe.
Like in the Nakey Jakey video, but this is just like obvious if you played any Bethesda game with a fucking gun in it, is that the shooting has always been fucking just dog water.
Shooting wasn't bad in Starfield.
Yeah, it's 2023.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. It should be up to par. You're right. No,
fuck?
you're right.
Like,
it's still, yeah. I mean,
the shooting in fucking Call of Duty 4,
yeah,
is better.
Yeah.
than Starfield shooting is on par, maybe a little bit worse. Call of Duty 4 shooting.
I was comparing Starfield to Fallout, and I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, of course. That's why.
Starfield.
But no. That's exactly how you did it, because that's exactly how they did it. It's in a fucking vacuum. It's like, and the thing is that so the reason why I want to talk about this is because, like I said, because of that no clip video, very good video. Please watch it. It's good. But also because it's like, after watching the Nakey Jakey video and also having played Starfield a bit, and at first I was kind of like trying to give Starfield the benefit of the doubt, go like, oh, this is pretty good, I like it, it's solid, but then I also don't go back to play it. What the fuck does that say?
Yeah.
And the thing is that, like, Bethesda games are like, I hate Morrowind. I hate swinging my weapon and missing when I clearly, like, in game, the visual feedback is I just hit him, but
when did you play Morrowind?
2003?
Oh, okay.
2004 on the Xbox?
Okay.
It's been a very long time, okay?
Yeah,
it's been a very long time, so, give me that. But, Oblivion was like...
Talk shit about Oblivion. Go ahead.
Oblivion's a big fucking deal, man.
Yeah, it is.
No,
it's
total opposite. I'm not talking shit. I mean, Oblivion obviously has like its Bethesda-isms, but like Oblivion, especially when you were there, man. Like when you were there when that game came out.
Yeah, that was
it was one of the first games I played on the 360, and oh my God, bro! Like, I look back on it and I look at how long how much time you spent on loading times. There was like a glitch, or I remember there was a duplicate glitch, and I used it to like spawn a shit ton of scrolls, and my game crashed, and then would reload into the crash, and it was, but like, yeah, nah, man, Oblivion is, bro, that shit was, it's so good, it's so good,
absolutely.
It's so good. And then like Fallout was never my cup of tea. I tried Fallout 3. I know a lot of
I played
people
a
like
lot
it.
of Fallout.
Yeah. That's just not my cup of tea. That's all. But partially getting back to the Starfield thing, my problem with Fallout was that the gunplay was so fucking horrible. It was so fucking horrible because Fallout 3 came out like 2008, which was a year after Call of Duty 4. And I know I just keep bringing up Call of Duty 4, but I also want to bring it up because it came out in 2007, which is fucking 16 years ago. But like, even compared to like Call of Duty 2, which came out in like 2005, right? I think, or at least on 360 it did.
Right.
And like, even for Fallout 3, that game's gunplay was so horrible.
I don't.
That a game that was all you used was VATS. You only use VATS.
Yeah, but you were like, yes. Compared to a first-person shooter, I don't think I'm playing it for a first-person shooter experience. You know what I'm saying?
Because it's greater than the sum of its parts. That's it's the same as like Oblivion and Skyrim, and because it was like kind of a new-ish thing.
I feel like it's like saying I'm playing I'm playing fucking Final Fantasy VII for the first person shooting experience. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it falls in that vein. Like Fallout 3 has first person shooting shit, but
that is not the same.
I feel like it is. Like,
okay,
you can say that Fallout 3 has bad first person shooting. Okay. I agree with you, but I'm not playing it for the first person shooting experience.
How often do you do shooting in Final Fantasy VII?
Never.
How often do you do shooting in Fallout 3?
First person, like
all the time.
Twitch shooting?
All the time.
Yeah, but it's use VATS.
Yeah, but that's okay. Cool. VATS is there, but that to me that got fucking boring. When you just every single time you get in combat, you just hit the button and go into VATS, and that's it.
Yeah.
It's like you just want the shooting to work.
But you're supposed to like
to work.
It's also about putting your stats into the thing so VATS recharges faster.
Yeah,
or using VATS in a smart way so it's like a resource management system.
Okay, so this is kind of like
I guess like we clearly played the game in two different ways.
I mean, I use VATS all the time because that's all you had to do. Like I beat the game.
Yeah,
right. But I wanted to be able to fire my gun.
Right.
And the thing is like, so the argument you're making is indirectly.
I'm saying you are absolutely right.
Yeah.
But also, it's not the kind of game that you would judge for being a first person, that type of system.
You can, because it's a system that they offer. Like the system is front and center when you're playing the game. You have a gun in your hand. You're in first person. I mean, assuming that you don't zoom the camera out, but like you're in first person. There's a reticle in the middle of the screen, right? Like,
right.
If that's not a thing that they wanted me to do, why give me the option?
No, you're right.
And this is like, for example, right? Like, if saying that's not why I come here is or for me judging the game based on how shitty its shooting was, or how shitty its let's be honest, how shitty its gameplay was,
right,
is like saying it could not be better, right? Like there's no this is as good as it gets. Why would you come to this game wanting it to have functional shooting? Like that's
so.
You get what I mean?
If it had Call of Duty type things where you have like vaulting, mantling, taking cover,
bro, just aiming the gun. Just aiming the gun properly. It didn't have to be Call of Duty because like Halo didn't have aim down sights for the longest.
No.
It didn't have aim down sights. It just had a functional reticle in the middle of the screen.
Yeah. You're right.
So that's what I'm like. That's what I'm trying to get at here. And the thing is that, like, I think time has proven, if we're just talking about our two arguments here, time has proven that they clearly agree with me. Otherwise, they would have never changed the shooting in the games, but they did.
Yep, you're right. Absolutely right. Yep, I get you.
So, yeah. Like I understand, like, the thing is to temper your expectations when you go into it. Which that I agree with, and, like, a shit ton of time. Like I fucking love Stranger in Paradise, and if you go in there expecting like some world-class sentimental story, get the fuck out, because this ain't it. But it also, first, cutscenes are skippable. Second, you spend the vast majority of the time not in them, so like that's it's like different there. But with Fallout really, my two biggest problems with Fallout 3 were that like the shooting was awful, and that I think is just an objective truth. The second one is totally me, and this is not the game's fault at all, but it's all the desert level.
Oh yeah.
Because the place is a apocalyptic wasteland. I get it, but eventually that gets kind of like boring after a while. It did for me.
Yeah, the variety of scenery was
that's
lacking.
like when you got to the one, what's it called, like Paradise or something, when you got to the one spot with an actual green tree in it.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh my god, what is this? or when you go into the vault that puts you in the black and white town, or like, oh, this is different.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Fallout New Vegas had a quite diverse terrain, even though it was all desert.
When I played it was fucking broken, and I never touched it again.
Oh, that was way better than 3.
I know. Everybody loves it. And I know it was done by Obsidian, and they actually offer the ability to actually talk your way through the game.
Yeah.
I get it. But the only time I played it was like I played on 360 shortly after it launched, borrowed it from my cousin. It was so busted. I remember, man, I'll never forget.
Did you play it on PS3?
No, 360.
Oh,
I just said 360.
Okay.
Yeah. I never forget. I foolishly, right? My fault. Definitely my fault here.
Right.
You know, sure. But I had to go step away from my Xbox real quick. So I'm just in the middle of nowhere and I look down at the ground. Like I'm just looking at the ground. I put my controller down, I come back, the game crashed.
Oh.
I was literally looking at dirt and you fucking crashed, bro. I had to redo like 20 minutes worth of shit. Then but the thing with Fallout, like I think Fallout, the setting in general just doesn't click with me.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the, you know, where I've gotten to with this, because Fallout 3 is my problems with it. I mean, the shooting is shitty, but like at the end of the day, it's mostly me. Like, you know, like I just don't click with it. New Vegas, buggy as fuck, and it's more the same setting, so I'm okay. I've tried to get into Fallout 4 like
Fallout
5
4
times.
It was weird because I played the shit out of Fallout 4. Like I've gone to every nook and cranny of Fallout 4 that you could.
Yeah.
But it was definitely an upgrade, but at the same time it was a downgrade. I
because the writing is kind of shit.
It. Yeah, maybe that's it.
And I haven't played through the whole game, but I've seen one of my friends play through it multiple times. I've seen every single ending. And the story's shit. The story's shit. And the thing is that the shooting is better than what it was in Fallout 3. That game also came out in 2015.
Yeah.
And the thing is that, like, this is like getting back on the whole greater than the sum of its parts, and this is kind of I guess conversations like naturally gone in the what has happened to Bethesda thing, where like, hey, things used to be like this, and then they kind of like stopped, and or like, you know, it's kind of like lost that magic, because like if Fallout 4, think about the time, and this is why they're like made in a vacuum, where it feels like that, because when Fallout 4 comes out, you have like a very rudimentary dialogue system, right? Like where you could select the things you want to say using the face buttons, and your character actually says them, as opposed to just being text on a screen,
right?
Which I find funny because they went back to that with Starfield, but they I'm trying to think how I want to phrase this. Think of what else came out in 2015.
Shit.
Right? There's one really big fucking game that came out in 2015 where you didn't have to compromise one system for another. I mean, maybe you did, but as a whole, I mean, like, it's one of the best. It has to be one of the greatest games of all time. As far as I'm concerned.
Metro?
No, the Witcher 3.
Oh, okay.
You had a game where the
guy talked. The guy you're playing with was the guy voiced.
Talked. The dialogue options were meaningful. The side quests were meaningful. The main story was meaningful. The world was meaningful. The combat was meaningful. Like, the combat was actually good. Like, I'm not gonna say it was the best combat of all time, but it was fun. It had depth to it. Like, it was satisfying. Like,
and you can make roach fly. Yeah.
You could fuck on a unicorn. Like, so you have a game that doesn't compromise, and then you have a game that comes out later that year, because I think The Witcher was like May or something like that, and then you know, Fallout was probably like September or October or some shit. You have a game that comes out that's like, it's still Fallout, and I think at the time, I feel like the general consensus was like people liked it, but I feel like that's kind of soured over time.
I feel the way I remember it, I liked it way more than everyone else did. And
I mean,
yeah, that was the way I felt.
Yeah, like I've had at least like 2 or 3 friends who I've seen play it for like hundreds and hundreds of hours, go like, yeah, that game sucks, and I'm like, the fuck? What? Okay. You might have to reassess your values there, my guy. But,
I definitely liked it a lot. I played a lot of it. Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't think there's a problem with that.
You know what I didn't
you
do? I barely did any crafting. That's
you
a
didn't
whole
have
system
to.
I didn't even touch.
Yeah, the outpost thing. Or
Yeah,
whatever
the
it
outpost
was.
stuff.
Yeah,
It was like,
but it's there.
Yeah, it's there.
I mean, it's there, and there's like kind of a point, right? I think.
I've seen YouTube
as far as I see
videos
my
of
friends do.
people that build these fantastical bases. I'm 99% sure they use cheat codes to get all of the to get all the materials, because I could not get enough materials to build one of my bases up like they do.
Yeah, yeah. And like so the thing with Fallout 4 is that like still even then, the game kind of got by, right? Like just it's the Bethesda game. It's greater than the sum of its parts, I think. But I feel like at that point you were starting to see like like it was starting to kind of like fall apart.
Yeah.
Especially because you have something like The Witcher coming out, and I don't want to constantly make this comparison, but Skyrim being as big of a hit and as great as it was, like bringing up Dark Souls again, that's a game that did not, it's a different kind of game. It's a different kind of game. But you gotta understand me at that time and place. I got Dark Souls the day it came out in the US. Totally fucking like revolutionary for me. And then I get Skyrim and I go like, this combat sucks. Like this combat sucks. The dialogue sucks, and like Dark Souls does not have fucking amazing dialogue, but it also doesn't get in the way.
Right.
So there's shit like that. But still, I love Skyrim. I put like many hundreds and hundreds of hours in Skyrim.
Mods were great. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah. But so one thing this guy points out, and it was like, I think he says kind of happened like Skyrim. I think based on what he said, it was like Skyrim was kind of like the last one before, like essentially he kind of points out how Bethesda kind of lost its like mojo, its spunk as the company grew. Because I think he said the team that worked on Skyrim, or Fallout, I forget which one. Well, Fallout 3. It was one of those two. It was like 65 people. Which is like small. Right. I mean, like, in the grand scheme of things, small. And he said eventually it grew to like 400 or 500 people, and so many things get lost in translation. You gotta have meetings for like everything. And I guess that's what happened, because he points out before where it's like there was a point in time where if you wanted to like try something on the game, you just did it. And now it's at a point where if you want to do that, you got to go through meetings, you got to go through bureaucracy, there are layers you got to go through, all that kind of shit. So I guess that would explain why Starfield took how many years to come out?
Since 2008.
It's probably since Fallout 4. It has to be since Fallout 4.
Okay,
I would imagine.
So
because Fallout 76 was like the bastard son. Fucking
yeah.
like Bethesda worked on it, but they also had a bunch of other studios working on it, and then people like point out it was like, oh, the Bethesda B team or some shit like that worked. I forget exactly what it was, but like, it wasn't. I think the development for Fallout 76 and Starfield were happening simultaneously.
Yeah.
So Starfield has to be like 8 years.
Fallout 76, one of my saltiest memories. My friend was like, hey, this game is on sale for $5. And I'm like, but that game notoriously sucks. And he says, nah, well, I want to do the MMO thing. I want to play with you. I want to go through the whole thing. I'll be with you, and it's going to be great. It's like, great. We buy it. Next day, I'm waiting for him to get on. I run a little bit of the intro. He says, yeah, I can't get on. I never played with him a single day on that fucking game. I played that game for longer than he even touched it. And I regret every second playing that game, because it was... It's I got it early. I got again. It dropped to $5.
It still has the same intro.
Yeah.
It still has the same intro. It sucks.
Yeah. It dropped to $5 like a couple of months after it came out. And the thing that look, I'm going to be complaining over $5 right now. Okay. But it went free to play like 2 weeks after I bought it. All right.
Okay. Wah, wah, wah.
It's the principle. It's the principle, all right? It's not the amount of money. It's the principle, all right?
Got played like a goddamn fiddle.
Yeah,
You know, that's because I was about to say, when you said I'm about to complain about $5, and I was like, no, you're not complaining about $5. You're complaining about your time. But then you said it went free to play 2 weeks later, and I was just like, oh yeah, complaining about $5. Okay.
Oh man, yeah. So yeah, they got my $5. They got it.
Those motherfuckers.
Motherfuckers.
Yeah, it's like, what, but you know what happened? Because he pointed out after Fallout 76, like, you know, the backlash was nuts. Like he said in the thing that they were aware that it was not where it should be when it launched. But the amount of like vitriol that game spawned,
Yeah.
was unexpected. So he does kind of make a joke, or he's like, hey, no, I'm just making my own thing, so if I put it out there and people don't like it, there's no way they're gonna hate me more than they did for Fallout. Which is pretty funny.
Bro,
But,
Starfield.
Yeah, I guess this
like,
goes to the Nakey Jakey video now, about Starfield.
But it's like the response from Bethesda has been very...
Oh, bro, you posted cringe. That shit is brutal. Oh my god.
It's
like, there's so many loading screens. Like, there's such a big world out there. The technology is like, why the fuck did you make it if it needs 7 loading screens to go anywhere? You can't actually travel.
Yeah.
I want to fly my ship. They have such a fucking, like, you know, I was talking about this when we were playing the game, and so then seeing it in the fucking the Nakey Jakey video, I was just like, I mean, I assume everyone felt like this, but still, it's like, yeah, that's it. They have a really cool ship builder. I spent like 2 hours making a fucking ship, and that's not even talking about the amount of time I spent grinding, or not. I'm not gonna say grinding, but doing quests, getting money to be able to afford to make this fucking ship. I made this ship. It's cool. I love it. The shipbuilder's awesome. And what do I get to do with it? Watch it take off and land in fucking loading screens and cutscenes, man.
Yeah.
That's so fucking stupid.
Yep, absolutely.
When like No Man's Sky, and I hate drawing comparisons between the two because like Starfield has a bunch of shit No Man's Sky doesn't have. Like, I don't know, a story? Like that's and I played No Man's Sky after they added the story.
Yeah.
It's not the same. So
yeah.
and like functional combat, like at least Starfield, for all the shit that just talked about Bethesda and shooting, the gunplay is fine in Starfield.
It's
trying
fine.
to shoot something in Starfield is like fucking like trying to shit nails, bro. It's not fun, and totally doesn't work. But anyway, so but Starfield, I mean No Man's Sky, a game made by like, I don't know if it's still the same case now, but like at the time, like 20 people. You can actually take off and land. Like from the day that game came out, you could take off from planets and land on them.
Yeah.
And that game came out 7 years ago. Bro, like this is clearly, I'm not a tech guy, or at least in relation to, you know, like engines and all sorts of shit like that and coding, but that clearly has to be a fucking engine limitation.
It's or just the way they design the game, you know. It's because I think the way they do it, you know, everything is built out into little places, and it's like, if you think about it on like a 3D map, you'll have one place. They're not connected to each other. They're just in a space. Like, so that's why there's a loading screen. Like
if you have a big enough structure, then you touch the door and it loads you in.
So like if you put no clip on, you're clipping into darkness. You're not clipping into the next place.
And you think about something like, fucking gonna use this comparison again because it came out at this point 8 years ago. The fucking Witcher. Yeah. In The Witcher, you do something revolutionary called opening a door. You're in the world and you want to enter a structure. You open the door and you go inside the structure seamlessly. Yeah. And they still can't do that. Like, Bethesda still can't do that. It was one of the first days, I think, when I was watching you play it, because you started playing before I did.
Oh, there was some airlock.
Yeah, like, oh, okay, how do you, like, can you just go into structures? And I see the airlock. Or I see some structures, the door opens, like buildings or whatever, the door opens, and other ones, you have to hit it, and it fades to black, and then you load in.
Yep.
And it's just like, it's 2023, and you still can't make fucking stores be seamless. Like...
All right, this is us not shitting on Bethesda, by the way.
I am shitting on Bethesda.
Okay, all right, because you preface this that you don't want to shit on Bethesda.
No. I preface, like, I'm prefacing. I'm not trying to shit on Bethesda, like the people, or whatever it may be. Like, but the thing is just that all I can speak to at the end of the day is the product that I have played.
Yeah.
This is not an indictment of the people who guaranteed spent a bunch of fucking hard work and time making this game, but they also have to work with fucking the Fred Flintstone ass engine that they got. Like, it's bruh.
Yeah.
Like, oh, yeah. It's so. Because the thing is that Starfield has its moments, right? Like, it has its moments of why I played it.
Sure
I played it for like 20 or 30 hours, and it has its moments where you're like, yeah. Like, you're kind of like, I'm in it.
Yeah, and when
like,
you're 20 or 30 hours in, that's when the game begins, you know?
No, I feel like it begins long before that. But the thing
I
is
think
that,
10-hour mark, right? Was that the
No, I mean, like, probably, I don't know, like 2 hours? Once you get past, essentially, once you go to Constellation and you talk with them, then it's like you could go fuck off and do whatever you want. But the thing is just like, that's it. Like, this is it. That's it.
Yep.
So just the thing, like, I am shitting on it because it's like you have so many other, like, we're at a point in time, and this is why it feels like they're all made inside of a vacuum.
They're resting on their laurels, and they're keeping all technology, you know, to build new stuff.
Like you remember Anthem's development, right? I don't know if you remember the story of that, but you remember how they were like, nobody can talk about Destiny in here. We don't want to hear a mention of Destiny. No comparisons. Do not talk about that game. It was like taboo to say fucking Destiny while making Anthem, a game that would not have even been like birthed out of the nutsack of BioWare if it wasn't for fucking Destiny.
Yeah.
And it's in the at least I'm sure they might have had an idea for something like Anthem, but in the way that it was, literally would not be a thing without Destiny. I don't give a fuck. Yep. So that's how it feels like the Bethesda games are. But unlike Anthem, where boo hoo hoo, as much as I did enjoy it, boo hoo hoo, a live service game kicks a bucket. Oh no, what will we do? Bethesda, Starfield has so many moments where you're like, this could have been fucking sick. But instead, it's actually sick and dying. Like, it's
yeah, that's a weird thing to do. It's like what Obsidian, right? Imagine the new Obsidian game that they're making for Xbox. Imagine they're like, I don't want to hear anything about fucking Bethesda. I don't want to hear anything about Skyrim.
Or something like that.
Well, that didn't exist. We are trailblazers.
Or The Witcher. Like if you're gonna make an open world fantasy game,
we invented fantasy, all right? So you can't talk about it. We're inventing it right now. It didn't happen. Don't talk about it.
Speaking of a fantasy, yeah, it's God, yeah. I know I've definitely been ranting on this one a lot, but it was like. Just like broken record, just reiterate, after watching that video of that ex-Bethesda dev talking, and it's like, it's a nice video, it's a very, very good video, but it's hearing how he's saying some things about like Bethesda, and you know, like he's got a cabinet for every game, or like he has a cabinet that's full of like memorabilia and stuff like that and awards for games that he shipped, right? Like that you know, he's worked on. And you see like Game of the Year awards for fucking like Fallout 3 and Game of the Year awards for Skyrim, and I don't know if there's a Fallout 4 Game of the Year edition, so I assume that got one too. So like you clearly see the love.
Yeah.
And then you're like, man, what the fuck happened? Like,
I mean, look, all great things must come to an end, you know?
Yeah, but it's just like it like it clearly
they want growth. They just can't. It's physically impossible to grow that big and not lose what you are, right?
Yeah. Very true.
Yeah,
very true. Also, like, clearly the kind of games they want to make are beyond the scope of the engine that they used to make them. Like, it's, and then they made a creation engine 2. Like, they updated the engine to the point where now it's a 2.
Yeah.
And it's still fucked up. Like, it's like, you listen, I know it's like such a small thing, but it's like the biggest problem with Starfield easily was the amount of loading screens, like fast travel loading screen, like the lack of, and this all contributes to like completely just ass blasting all sense of immersion out of the game.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you know, but Tom Howard was like on an interview
Todd
with what
Howard.
they're Ron Howard, what's his name?
Todd
Howard. That's what I said.
I thought you said Tom.
I did, but
okay.
You know.
Okay, got it. Yeah, understood. Got it. Okay. Yes, anymore.
They're saying they're adding to Starfield, and they're adding all stuff that they cut. That they have
a city map.
No,
a fucking city map, bro. That's part of the updates, man. A map, bro.
No, but like specifically survival stuff. They had working builds of like more survival stuff, like you know those debuffs you get for like breaking your legs or something.
Yeah, but, when like you just stand in like the weather and planets.
Yeah, but it's like they don't really. It's not impactful.
It's skin deep.
Skin deep. Like, they had like deeper
Yeah.
systems for it where it would make your character go slower, or would you would get certain ailments or stuff, and they just decided to cut it because like it was working. They decided to cut it because it was they thought it was too hardcore or something. And
but then they have like a million things of food, so now all my guy does is fucking engorge himself on meat cubes whenever he's low on health.
But it's like, they didn't really. It seemed like they had a lot of interesting ideas that were built, but they just decided to cut them out, and they didn't really put anything to bolster that. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the biggest example that has to be the fucking outpost.
Maybe, yeah.
There's no point.
Yeah.
I tried making an outpost. That shit sucks.
Well, making an outpost, I think, is just for gathering materials, right?
It's like, why do you want to even bother? But like, the thing is that you can make outposts. I think you can have people be in them and shit too.
Yeah,
or something.
yeah. You can build people into them.
But it's like so janky.
Yeah. Well,
and I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing when I'm making it, how to link things together, all sorts of stuff. Like it.
The way I look at Starfield is like, there's multiple ways to play the game, and I know that there are people that love the outpost building like genre, like I don't know, Animal Crossing,
same like the
things.
building outposts or whatever for the settlements,
and like it's Fallout. A game that they can go to Starfield and have that experience, but us, we can be adventurers and just go out adventuring, or I don't know. It pulls in a lot of directions. It doesn't do anything really well.
Yeah, like it's unlike other Bethesda games where they've always had like skin deep systems, like a bunch of shallow systems that kind of come together, and like in Todd Howard's words, it just works.
Yeah.
This time that didn't happen.
Yeah. Well, yeah. The stuff that they're adding is survival stuff, supposedly this year.
Yeah, I mean, when I modded the fuck out of Skyrim, I definitely added a survival mod because it just made like engaging with the world a lot more exciting.
Yeah. Well, I don't think, supposedly, from what I hear, or what I can deduce, they're not done with Starfield. It might get, they might be working on it long term, and definitely the modding community is active, relatively.
They still need to add mod support to it.
Well,
it has mods, but not to the same capacity that Skyrim and previous games have.
Well, they ever since Fallout 4, the
Creation Club.
Yeah, the Creation Club. They kind of like They kind of did what, I guess, comparable to D&D. Like you had open
OGL type shit.
yeah, you had like open support for mods, like they encouraged it. But then Fallout 4 was like, you know, we want you to make mods, but you know, we kind of need control over it. So you can go through us and I guess we'll pay you, and then they stop paying them. So you know, again, it's like the company gets so big it lost who they are, it loses who you are.
Yeah.
And I understand, you know, you're fully within your right to take control of your product. But it's like if you built a community on being open and having that being open to mods, it's like and then you double back. It's kind of like, yo, we were here because you were cool and now you're not cool anymore.
Yeah. Like I just don't know how they can I don't know how they can like actually save Starfield.
Because I think it's just they'll use it as a building block for another thing.
Yeah, like I mean, I assume mods and shit like that once they add like proper mod support.
Am I wrong, or was there like they have a certain year plan for Starfield that includes like the Fallout 76 treatment?
I have no idea. I don't think so. I know they announced shit over the next like 6 weeks or something, but I don't.
I remember.
Like, it's not a live service.
Something like before Starfield even came out, they were talking about like what they want to do with the Starfield IP.
Oh, I have no idea. I have no clue.
Okay.
No clue. Just I don't know how they can. The reason why I say I don't know how they can save it is because like it. I think the way you could easily save the game is by getting rid of all those fucking loading screens.
Yeah.
And like not just like, oh hey, now the game has seamless loading. I mean like
I want to take off from planet and go into space.
Exactly. I want to fly my ship.
Yeah.
I want to fly my ship. Like that's one thing. But if that one thing was there, I mean like this conversation would be probably not even happening.
Yeah.
Like that's
true.
It's like it seems like such a small thing, but such a big deal.
I mean, we don't know the technical limitations of this or whatever, but it's like
No Man's Sky fucking did it.
Yeah, but they weren't using whatever they're using, you know.
Well, clearly because like they're using their own shit, which can't handle this, but they wanted to make a game of this scale and scope, but didn't have the tools to properly deliver on that fantasy.
Yeah. Well,
and so that's why I'm like, I don't know how the fuck you can save this.
Yeah.
Like.
I mean,
how much better can it get than this to a point where it's still not this?
Yeah, I just
and like I'm still gonna go back to play it maybe eventually, but like, fuck, man.
So I don't know if you know this, but this is just a question off the top of my head. So you know, Bethesda publish Hi-Fi Rush. They publish a bunch of
they have a bunch of
companies.
great shit. Yeah.
Now that they're owned by Xbox, is Xbox doing that, or does Bethesda publishing?
It's still under like so like for example Hi-Fi Rush, right?
Yeah.
That's still like Bethesda, but it's a Xbox game.
Right, but
it's weird. It's like a family tree.
Okay. So it's like the Bethesda publishing is still going to be putting money into third-party studios to make their games.
Yeah. But I believe that money is going to come from Microsoft. Like if you had like I forgot what kind of chart it is, but it'd be like Microsoft at the top, and then you have a line going down that says like Activision Blizzard, another one that's like Bethesda, and and then you have like first party studios, and then but even though they're all first party, first party studios would be like the Coalition and 343 and stuff like that.
Again, we're just talking strictly about Bethesda Game Studios right now.
Yeah.
Not Bethesda Publishing, because they got Dishonored, they got Hi-Fi Rush, they got Doom,
they got Redfall. Keep going. Go on.
No, I'm just saying there's Bethesda.
There's a clear different divide.
Yeah, there's a divide here. The Bethesda can still publish awesome fucking games, like really top-notch fucking games. And we're hopeful for that future, but like their in-house Bethesda Game Studios. You know,
they need help. They need help, or not that they need help. They need to figure this shit out. Because Starfield fucking up is like
big.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
It's a big deal. But if Elder Scrolls 6 fucks up,
oof. Skyrim 2?
Rip.
Is that Skyrim 2?
Fucking rip. No.
Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be taking on Skyrim, no?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, it's its own thing. But or maybe not. I actually cannot confirm whether or not, because you know they haven't said, as far as I know. But and the game's so far out that
yeah, true.
I would not if it didn't come directly from them, I wouldn't believe it. So
well,
it's they if Elder Scrolls 6 turns out to be in the same spot or it turns out it comes out and it's just like the way Starfield is, they're like, I don't think they're screwed. But as far as like public perception of them, probably can't be saved, I would say.
Yeah.
Like, to me, it's that big of a deal because like Skyrim, like it's Skyrim, man.
Yeah.
Skyrim, like
they can't make the same Skyrim, and they cannot fuck that up. Yeah.
Like that's no way, because then it's like, all right, so Fallout went to shit. You made a new IP, and it really was just like, I'm not gonna say it was shit, but it was just kind of like meh to all right.
Yeah,
and now you have like your
leaps
fucking
and bounds.
Yeah, and then you have like your flagship, like this is the big fucking deal right here, and you drop the ball on that, you guys can't do anything.
Yeah,
like that. That's it.
Well, thoughts and prayers.
Yeah, thoughts and prayers, and I think does that wrap it up for this one?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah,
I know we were going to talk about other things,
shit.
But
yeah,
keep it short.
Yeah, I mean, in quotation short.
Yeah. Thank you all for joining us.
Yeah. Let us know what you think about this stuff in the comments. All that kind of shit.
Yep. And if there's anything you want us to cover, the holidays are coming up.
I mean, next one we're probably going to talk about, just like our top games of the year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.